Hello, my friends. ActusXD here. If you're a new viewer, then welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Today I have a stunningly good gold farm for you, and what we're going to be doing is heading out into the wide world looking for a lodestone and grabbing, well, lodestone, but also thoroughly hoping that we get a chunk of adderstone, which is a crafting perk, extra luck perk. I've said perk a lot. Percolate. I think especially on higher population servers, lodestone is one of those things that's kind of a bit overlooked because a lot of people are like, what the hell is anyone using a lodestone? And when I say a lot of people, I mean this stunningly good farm that at its minimum is going to earn you about 1.5k gold an hour if you get supremely unlucky and don't get a single chunk of adderstone and you're just selling the lodestone and the motes that you pick up along the way. However, if you do get, and I'm not going to say lucky because it will happen more often than not, the average point is that you will have at least probably one chunk of adderstone an hour, but if that normal eventuality occurs, then you're going to be looking at somewhere in the vicinity of 2.1 plus, depending on how many chunks you get or what lodestone is going for on your server. On my server, they go for about 0.3 to 0.31 each, and so that's where we wind up with about 1.5k gold, with motes hovering in the 0.5 gold vicinity. Now, whilst this particular farm isn't widely known or used, the general area is commonly used both for leveling and for some other orichalcum ore farms, and so you might find sometimes that some people have ran ahead and progressed your route, and you might be like, ah, damn, someone's doing this farm. I would urge you, however, to just continue a little bit further to see, well, is someone actually doing this farm, or are they just some lodestone as they straight past to get some orichalcum? Just while I remember, I found this really weird bug that was absolutely guaranteed to work, where if you hit like on this video and then subscribe to ActusXD, hit the bell to be notified when I went live, then it would guarantee that you are 100% more charming, handsome, witty, and could count to 4 real good. So do it. Thank you. I'm going to attempt the impossible here, and I'm going to try and talk and do the paint map at the same time. Wish me luck. We're in this together. Here is Eastburn Outpost in Great Cleave, and what we're going to want to do is run up here and grab all of this lodestone here and all of this lodestone here. But there's an effective way to do it, or an efficient way to do it, and a less efficient way. You can also come down from Mountain Home, Mountain Rise, whatever the mountain area is in Shattered Mountains, which is up in that direction. Great Cleave is closer. You can run the route either direction. They both have their pros and cons. As usual, I'm using Map Genie to track my location in the world as I play the game. I use that on my other monitor, and I track motes and lodestone as well as some orichalcum and star metal ore. So we run north out of Eastburn Outpost, looking to grab these. Is that soul? I don't know what the icons mean. As we come there, and then we need to run out this way, and we get these two lodestone here. These are just on the outside of a cave, and then these 3 are on the inside of a cave with a wolf that we can kill. We come back out and run down below on the ground around this corner here, and then we jump up 1 step and grab the lodestone here. We can come back down. Stay up, and there's another lodestone next to the PvP mission, at least for Syndicate, where you need to store or pick up the items. You can grab the lodestone there, and then you jump down. There's lodestone up on the top of the cliff along here. Stay high as we grab these ones, come around to check for this soul note, and then we jump down, run back up. There's a set of steps here, and then a little rock embankment that we can grab this one, stay high and run around the corner of a wall that's out here and look at these lodestone, and then we can look down into the area and see if the lodestone in the pit, whatever that location is called, is there. Up to you whether you want to bother going down. You're going to have to kill some like level 43 elites, so it slows you down very slowly, or very slightly, I should say, but it can be worth jumping and grabbing them and then just coming straight back up. As we come back up, these are on top of a rock embankment that is quite high. So what I suggest doing is just, as you run over this road, look to your right to see if that lodestone's there before climbing this mountain, grabbing these, and we know if the lodestone down here is there to be worth getting. This is either a fire snail or it's a fire snail, I think, which is often there. Then by the time we come down, this is just on the side of the path, very easy to see. This is hard to see from the road, and I often don't bother to check. These 2 here are just on the side of the road, which are easy to grab as we run past. Same with these 2 here. However, one of the ones here constantly pushes, one of the ones here, the one higher up, constantly pushes you back. So the best thing to do is stand on the west side, up high on the little ledge, and then if you aim down, you won't get pushed off the node like so frequently happens. We can then come back around here on the outside of the fort. We want to check for this lodestone right on the corner of the wall. These ones here, and then these are in the back. These ones are inside the fort. Let's use a different color for that. These ones are inside the fort, and I don't bother going to look for those. It slows you down too much. Not worth the risk. Come back up in here. We stay on the road if you're a great axe user, and then bloodlust your way with the rabbits as you run past. Do not worry about getting this fire spire thing, whatever they're called. It's inside 2 walls. On my server at the moment, one of these lodestones is bugged, this one's not, and this is where we make a decision whether we want to, and at this point, what we want to do if we're running the route in this direction, as in from Great Cleave up, is we want to come left and grab the lodestone ores that are in the camp here. Very straightforward, we're just running along, not too much explanation there. You want to stay high, and this area here is quite dense with mobs. There's one orichalcum ore there. On my server, there's been a bot camping it literally 24/7 the entire time I've been doing this run, so not possible to do, and these are a bit more of a pain in the ass than they're worth the trouble. I stay high coming out here and jump out of the whatever this zone is that I've scribbled paint all over before grabbing these lodestones here. This one's just back inside the fort wall, and then stay high, and we do a loop to grab all of these. Very straightforward that we're just going to run around and grab, and then we can come back out and start the run again. A couple of things to note is the orichalcum ores that are here and here are often worth checking to see if they're there. These ones are very difficult to get, as it's that gate where there's that giant boss, but if you can bait him away, or you can jump up on the side and then smack the ores, then that's worthwhile. And I find that these two orichalcum ores here are often not bothered with that much by people running routes, because they're not in a direct line, or in a route for orichalcum themselves, so people will often turn these away. After about an hour of farming this location, you can expect to wind up with, depending on how hard you go for the motes, you can get quite a lot of motes, somewhere in the vicinity of 500 to 1,200, depending how hard you're pushing, and around 4,000 to 4,500 lodestone, and hopefully you'll be looking at winding up with at least one chunk of adderstone. I've got one chunk of adderstone as my best in an hour, but I know of other viewers of mine who have done this same route. See, I change all the time, and they've picked themselves up to 3 in 1, which increases your gold per hour significantly. So let's get back to the footage of this being run and give myself a pat on the back for being able to talk and draw at the same time. Just a couple of things that we want to be thinking of as we're doing this farm is, well, probably the most obvious number one is double check on your server whether it's best to just sell the bare lodestone, or whether you want to upgrade it, refine it into lodestone bricks, or even the one above that, which has some fancy name I can't remember. There'll be a best sell point for you in terms of that. Because we are mining, I think it probably goes without saying, but we want to have our mining set on if at all possible. We are not doing a farm here for yield, so we're not so worried about breaking the 100% yield barrier. I mean, we would like to, because it doubles our lodestone if we could do it, but it's a lot harder because we're in an uncapturable area, so don't worry too much about it. But the number one thing we want to be thinking about is trying to get our mining luck boosted as high as we can, because we're really after those chunk of adderstones to turn this into what is a really good gold farm into something that is truly exceptional, something that will be talked about in the eons to come. People will say, remember that lodestone farm? And someone else will say, no, not really, that game died years ago. So for that reason, we're thinking about having our full mining set on with strength as our main stat. If we can get it as close to 600 gear score as we can get it, because we get more strength and we get more mining luck. I don't really need to explain that, I don't think. While we're on the strength thing, the 300 strength node obviously is the one that gives us a 25% chance to one dig the lodestone ores. So I think that's particularly useful with this farm, because lodestone is such a long mining cast time thing. It takes forever to actually knock them down. So if you can tap them out in one, you're going to increase your efficiency quite a little bit. I also found that it always came in clutch, because I would be like running from 6,000 mobs that I'd pulled because I couldn't be bothered running a particular route to avoid doing them. And I'd be like, I'll just see if I can one tap this one. And you just swing past and blast it out of nowhere, pick up your lodestone and do a bloody runner. We also want the other points in strength, obviously, so that we can get less burden and more yield and all that kind of stuff. But the 300 one is particularly useful in this farm, in my opinion. For the same reason that we want mining luck on our gear, we also want to be thinking about having mining luck on our food. For that, we're going to want to have roasted salted vegetables and mining trophies, if we have them, stuck in our house, whatever the best ones we can get, and stack them as many as we can in separate houses. Don't put them in the same house. Does nothing. But if we do all those things, we should be able to turn, as I say this, from a nicely profitable gold per hour farm into something that is truly spectacular. Hopefully you have the same luck that I have had doing this. I also find that it's particularly useful because mining is annoying to level. I'm still only like 190 or something, because you can't find orichalcum on our server, and it takes 48,000 other ores to level. But because we're doing so much mining of lodestone, we're actually hitting those targets, so you'll be increasing your mining a little bit, which is handy as well, an extra little perk on the side. I wish you good luck with this farm. Let me know in the comments down below what lodestone and chunk of adderstone is going for on your server, because I have a few other farms of the same material that might be beneficial to you. In the meantime, I love you, thank you, and remember,